Morning, respected director, sir. Good morning, Dr. Gupta, chief guest of our event, and good morning, respected participants and other attendees for the event. With your permission, director, sir, can we please commence with the event?
Can I start?
Yes. Good morning, Honorable Director of IIM Ranchi, Professor Dr. Shailendra Singh. Good morning, Dr. Madhukar Gupta, Indian Administrative Service and Chief Secretary of Rajasthan. And good morning, participants. Second Winter School of Atal Bihari Vajpayee Center for Leadership Policy and Governance at IIM Ranchi. We are all pleased to have you today at the event, and we hope to have 5 days of a discussion, a learning session, and a great experience for all the participants and all the educators in the event. So to begin with the event, I would like to invite Dr. Aditya Mishra, who will take it from here and also introduce our Honorable Director and the Chief Guest for the event. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning and welcome to Winter School Leadership Policy and Governance. Though I have been told not to speak Greek and Latin in my welcome address, but I'm sure nobody would mind if I quote a great Greek philosopher Plato in the start of my address. Quote, good actions give strength to ourselves and inspire good actions in others. This I found as the essence of all three virtues for leadership, policy, and governance. So based on this virtue only, based on these three things only, our winter school as well as the center is established, and we would like to continue this theme forward. Good morning once again, and a warm welcome to all of you at Winter School of EBV CAPG. I am Rachi. The Winter School is being conducted under the aegis of EBV CLPG, which is a center of excellence under IIM Ranchi. Before I proceed further, let me take few moments to introduce the center. The Atal Bihari Vajpayee Center for Leadership, Policy and Governance, it is also known as EBV CLPG. It aims to conduct multidisciplinary research in the domains of leadership, policy, and governance. It envisions to become the vibrant knowledge center which takes forward the scholarly conversations in leadership, policy, and governance. It also aspires to establish itself as think tank and provide professional consultation, advice, and support to government, public sector undertakings, local administration in the implementation of their schemes and policies. It intends to develop a pool of leaders, administrators, and managers with strong foundations in policy and governance strategies. To serve the purpose, we have been conducting seminars, lecture series, roundtables, and in today's COVID times, webinars, e-symposiums, etc. We felt privileged when the center hosted present Vice President of India, Honorable Sri Venkaiah Naidu ji, Union Minister retired General Sri V.K. Singh ji, among other dignitaries. With the same objective, the center decided to conduct the summer and winter schools. The summer school in 2019 was a memorable event, and I hope that the winter school 2021 too will be full of learning and experience sharing event for all the participants. As you know, the constraints about the offline event. Hence, we are conducting sessions through virtual mode, but I assure you that the learning will be real. I feel extremely honored to introduce the chief guest for the inaugural session, Dr. Madhukar Gupta ji, who is a former Indian Administrative Services officer. Madhukar Gupta is an engineer, MBA, law graduate, and PhD in economics. He has a master's in public administration from Harvard, is a Mason Fellow and Masters in Public Policy from Maxwell, Syracuse. He has studied and researched with accomplished academics including Stephen Cohen, Michael Porter, Joseph Stiglitz, Amartya Sen, Ricardo Hausmann, Jennifer Lennings, and Yasan at Harvard Law School. HBS, MIT, Brookings, Syracuse, Maryland, Cornell, and Fletcher schools. International universities like GWU, University of Maryland, University of Hawaii, Ben Gurion University, Israel, Leiden University, Netherlands, NUS Singapore, and many Indian institutions have hosted him as visiting scholar, professor, and speaker. Dr. Gupta has been Principal Secretary, Higher Education, and also Vice Chancellor of University of Rajasthan and Rajasthan Agriculture University. He is an adjunct faculty at IIT Chennai, BITS, and Thapar Institute of Technology. He has traveled to more than 50 countries for professional and academic work and won many national awards for NPC and NABARD. He has worked in governments of India, Rajasthan, and Tamil Nadu as team leader in United Nations Development Programme, consultant to ADB and Sri Lankan government, non-profit sector, cooperative sector as managing director in State Road Transport Corporation and the State Cooperative Dairy Federation. He coordinated the wood earthquake and drought in Western India for the UN and Gurjar agitation for Rajasthan government. As a practitioner, Dr. Gupta has had a long tenure of 16 years in 4 divisions as Divisional Commissioner, DM in 3 districts, and SDM in 2 places. Let me take this opportunity to introduce our Honorable Director, Professor Shailendra Singh Ji now. Prior to the present role as Director of IIM Ranchi, he was the Dean Research and a Senior Professor in the area of Human Resource Management at Indian Institute of Management, Lucknow. He has also served as the President between 2013 to 14 and has been elected as Fellow in 2018 of National Academy of Psychology, India. Professor Singh earned MA in Psychology from the University of Allahabad and PhD in Organizational Behavior from IIT Kanpur. His PhD dissertation titled Executives Under Stress, Explorations in the Structure and Dynamics won Indian Council of Social Science Research Publication Grant Award. He has more than 34 years of post-PhD research and teaching experience. He also has a vast and varied experience in training, administration, and consultancy. Professor Singh has delivered various lectures, presentations, and keynote addresses at senior universities, institutes, and business schools around the world, which include IITs, IIMs, triple IITs, Banaras Hindu University, University of Cambridge, Aston Business School, University of Kelaniya, Sri Lanka, to name a few. Last but not the least, I welcome all the participants and audience to the Winter School. In behalf of ABB CLPG, I would like to congratulate the participants for joining the program and look forward for your engagement during the sessions. I wish you all the best. Now I would like to invite our Honorable Director, sir, to address the participants. Thank you.
Dear Dr. Madhukar Gupta, my friend has been very active in helping industry and government. Nitin Madan Kulkarni Saab, Secretary, Principal Secretary, Health, Jharkhand government, my faculty colleagues, and dear participants. It is really heartening to have you in the Winter School of Atal Bihari Vajpayee Center for Leadership, Policy and Governance. You may be knowing as the Jharkhand state in its political structure has been carved out during year 2000 during the prime ministership of late Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. We at the institute 30 appropriate tribute that we should open a policy research center at the institute in the name of the true statesman, Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee. It's a 2-year-old institution, but it has started working in the area of leadership, policy, and governance, and has undertaken several research studies. And as Aditya ji has already told, that very successful with summer school in 2019, and then this winter school, and we have been organizing webinars, seminars on various topics concerning government and public at large. I welcome one and all who are associated with this program, and wish and hope that the 5 days that are ahead will be eventful, interacting and refreshing in terms of knowledge, in terms of your curiosity, and will go a long way in imparting certain kind of knowledge, as well as clarifying issues in the area of leadership, policy, and governance. I will say, wish you all the best for the program, and welcome Madhukar ji, and looking forward to hear him in this program. So Aditya ji, wish you all the best to take it forward and start the program right away. Dr. Aditya Mishra. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your research. Now, I would like to the inaugural session, Mr. Madhukar Gupta ji, address the participants and the audience. Dr. Madhukar Gupta ji.
Dr. Shailendra Singh, Director, IIM Ranchi, Professor Aditya, my younger colleague, Principal Secretary Health from Jharkhand, faculty of IIM Ranchi, and dear students, also participants in this program, winter program for leadership, policy, and governance. I'm really thankful to Professor Shailendra Singh for having given me this opportunity of being with you virtually for this leadership program. He and I go a long way. We have shared our opinions, we have shared our views for the last, I think I would say 20 years or so. And I have seen how he has contributed to the domain of management and management learning in this country, in Lucknow and now in Ranchi. Ranchi is a difficult area, all of us know that. And in my previous assignment with the Government of India in the Ministry of Heavy Industries and Department of Public Enterprises, I was interacting with nearly 350 public sector undertakings owned by the Government of India, which also included a few undertakings in and around Ranchi, like Mekon, Heavy Engineering Corporation, Coal India, and others. And I have visited Ranchi any number of times during my tenure with the Government of India. Before I come to the subject of leadership, policy, and governance, for my younger friends, I would only like to say, and I'm sure Professor Shailendra Singh will agree with me, we are more experienced than most of you. you live only once. And all of us want to make our life meaningful. It is all written in the Shastras that you have to contribute. You're in this world to contribute to this world. Every day we are partaking of resources of this world. Are we giving back to this world in whatever form? Any corporation, any company, I have handled this CSR folder for the last 6 years for the government of India. And we have also tried to give shape to this policy. Now, every corporation is there to make profits. But at the same time, every corporation entity is also there to contribute to the greater good of society. Bill Gates is not the chairman or CEO of Microsoft, but he is the chairman of Bill Gates Foundation. Warren Buffett. The amount of contribution Warren Buffett makes to people across the world through different programs is unimaginable. At the end of the day, we are here to earn profits for corporations, public, private, but we also, final destination is to contribute to the greater good of society. Now, having said that, whatever I have seen in my personal life, the time from our birth to death, all of us eventually have to land up in the burial ground or in the cremation ground. Have we enjoyed our life? The concept of enjoyment, satisfaction varies from person to person. And I'm not saying what Shastras say, I'm saying it from my personal experience. And I would need validation from Professor Shailendra Singh. Now, the interval between birth and death, have you enjoyed your time? People call it satisfaction, people call it enjoyment, we can call it by different names. जिंदगी जो है, जिंदगी एक बहुत हसीन अनुभव है और इसको आपने जिया या नहीं जिया. And concept of enjoyment or satisfaction will vary from person to person. Look at your own brothers and sisters. They are so different from you. Children born from the same parents, having lived in the same environment, they are totally different. Now, have you enjoyed your time? One. Second, have you contributed to the well-being of your own family, of your extended family, of your village, of your town, state, country, world, whatever? Having been born as a human being in the world, have you contributed to the world? And it has to start from your own family. How can we contribute to the world if we don't contribute to our own family? But then family is just not enough. Family, it has to begin with family, but not end only with family. As somebody has said, that I want to leave enough with my children that they should be able to do whatever they want to do in this world. But I do not want to leave so much with my children that they don't need to do anything in this world. So, and number three, finally, do you want to leave a footprint in this world? Once we are not there, do we leave something behind that people talk about us? Even if people don't talk about us, do we leave a footprint in this world? So basic idea is God has given you this opportunity of studying in an institute like IIM Ranchi. How many of, look at your colleagues, look at your classmates who couldn't get into IIM Ranchi or similar institutes. How would they be feeling about you? So having got this opportunity, you have to make the best of it. And you will only be able to make the best of this opportunity if you spend your time in Ranchi fruitfully. And the most important here is to learn. Whatever you are here for, ideas to learn. And when you learn, when you talk about learning, a lot of learning takes place outside the classroom. in the coffee shop, in the canteen, in the small tuck shop outside the college, during interactions in the hostel, during informal parties, dinners, whatever, during discussions in the library. So you learn so much not only from your professors, but also from your colleagues. Have you tried to step out and get to know about all your colleagues? I'll tell you my personal experience. When I was at Harvard, there was this lady, and she used to ask some of those very, I won't say stupid, very inane questions. And I would wonder how Harvard can let in people, admit people like her who practically don't know much. So, and in Harvard, what they do is just to ensure that we talk to each other, the students talk to each other, they would change your seats in every class. So you don't know who is sitting with you in the next class. The idea is to encourage you to talk to each other. Let's say we had 200 students in the MPA, Masters of Public Administration class. So they would give a prize to the person who could connect the name with the face of 200 students within 15 days. So this lady, her name was Patricia, she was sitting next to me in my class. And I thought to myself, I said, let me get to know this lady. She was much older to me, about 25 years older to me. She was like 65. And there, the age profile of students range from, let's say, 22, it could even be 80, go up to 80, even beyond 80. So there is no, and they are gender neutral, age neutral, caste, creed, whatever. So I said, Pat, what do you do? And when she told me what she did, I felt so stunned. She said, I have been living with the remotest Eskimo community in Alaska. I am their nurse, I am their teacher, I am their driver. I bring their produce to the town. I take whatever they need from the town to the community. So I have spent 25 years in that community. And I don't own a house. I have hardly any bank balance. But I cannot live without the community, neither can they live without me. And the moment she told me a story, I felt possibly she had achieved much more in life than I had achieved. So the message which I want to give you is there is so much to be done. And most important for you is, as my professor used to say, listen to your inner voices. When Dr. Aditya was introducing me, sometimes people used to ask me that there are so many degrees on my card, visiting card. What does it mean? And I would say it means confusion. I didn't know what I had to do in my life. I didn't have clarity. There was a very interesting course called Know Thyself. We try to know about the outer world. Do we know about ourselves? Do we reflect? Do we sit down quietly in a corner, in a good environment, and think about ourselves? Varisha has said in Punjabi, which means translated into Hindi, that sometimes you go to the temple, sometimes you go to the mosque, and you try to understand the world, but you have never tried to understand yourself. ਤੂੰ ਚੜਦਾ ਹੈ ਮੰਦਰਾ ਮਸੀਤੀ ਕਦੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪੜਿਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ. You have never tried to understand yourself. What do I want? Do we listen to our inner voices? Whatever we do, there is some voice which whispers in our ears. Possibly that is the voice of our conscience. What does it tell us? Do we listen to that voice? Are we like a herd of sheep? If you are at IIM Ranchi, would you continue in the direction in which your professors or faculty push you? I am Ahmedabad when it was set up was basically set up for social entrepreneurship. It was not initially set up for businesses. Nothing wrong with being with a business. But then what do I want to do? Two things which we were told by faculty. I had the opportunity of sitting at the feet of intellectual giants. Clay Christensen. Have you heard of Clay Christensen, who died last year? He was the marketing guru across the world. And in his first class, he said, don't expect me to be a nice guy. If you expect me to be a nice guy, don't attend my class. I will be the meanest person in the whole business school. But I can assure you, you will learn. I'll make you really fight for every mark. I'll give you assignments. You'll have to work hard, but then my agreement is you will know what marketing is all about. So, two things in life, just reflect on it. I just wanted to, since Dr. Shailendra Singh has given me this opportunity, I couldn't stop myself from sharing my personal experiences with you before I come to this subject. All of us have special abilities, and all of us have certain likings and dislikings. When I was a student of MBA, every time people will say marketing. Marketing was the theme of the day. It was the flavor of the time. Now, it could be HR, it could be something different. At that time, very foolishly, we would say we want to do a marketing job without understanding whether I'm cut out for marketing or not, whether I like marketing or not. Two things we really have to appreciate. One, what is it that we like doing? Some of you would like to move into the social sector. I'm informally advising one of the biggest NGOs in the country called Pradhan. They have a big presence around Ranchi. Now they have graduates from the US, from foreign countries, who have left very lucrative careers to join the non-profit sector. So it all depends. My daughter, who gets a very fancy salary with Microsoft, she's an MBA from Booth School at a very young age. So she wants to join academics. So some of you might like to join academics. So first thing that we need to ask ourselves is, what do I want? What do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do once I move out of Ranchi? Second, what is it that I am good at? What is it that I can do better than others? So you should be doing something that you can do better than others. One, what you like doing. Second, what you can do better than others. Having reflected on these thoughts, I just wanted to talk about your present winter program, which is on leadership, policy, and governance. It's a 5-day program, I'm told. Why should we have these programs? You know, when I saw the Sloan School for the first time, I said, that's it. Only one building is the Sloan School of Management at MIT. We have so many fancy buildings in India. But an institute is all about teaching and learning. It's all about brilliant minds. It's all about hardworking people. It's all about sharing of knowledge and creation of new knowledge, if we can. Are we the quest to learn and the never ending quest to create new knowledge? These kind of events are extremely critical in creating, not only sharing existing knowledge, but also creating new knowledge. If we don't allow our students to disagree with us, faculty, management, whatever, how can we create new knowledge? It's only through discussion. Nalanda was located in Bihar. Now, have you heard about the debates which used to take place in Nalanda? The debates which used to take place in Greece during the times of Plato or Socrates. Till such time you don't have debate, vaad vivad nahi ho. How will you create new knowledge? It is only when you disagree, when you dissent, when you discuss, that new knowledge gets created. So these kind of platforms are extremely important for creation of new knowledge. Before World War II, management was not a separate discipline in academics. We hardly had universities across the world which had a management department. Economics was there. Arthashastra, if you read Kautilya's Arthashastra, it is a treatise on politics and governance, not on economics. But why it is named Arthashastra? Because Kautilya felt everything begins with earth and ends with earth. If you don't have resources, what will you do? What will you do without resources? Now, if we compare India and America, I focus on public policy in the US and China and how we can use their public policies for our country. Now, US is 4 times in size of India, and it is 1/4 in terms of population compared to India. So, even if we assume natural resources are the same within India and within the US, the ratio is 1:60. How can we, assuming we are at the same level of technology, we are at the same level in terms of exploitation of resources, can we compete with the US? The ratio per person is 1:16. How do we compete with them? So, something which works in the US may not work in India. Anything which is expensive, which is not cost effective, any policy which is not cost effective it is not sustainable, it is not scalable in this country. So situations are different. So we have to look at our country differently. That's what, when I was working with the UN, that's what I used to feel all the time, that it's not one size fits all. You just can't have one policy for the whole world, even for the whole country like India. We are so diverse. A lot of similarities are there, but a lot of dissimilarities also are there. So these kind of platforms, these kind of winter schools are extremely important in sharing and creating new knowledge. And I would encourage you to disagree, to say what you feel like. Leadership, policy, and governance. I have had the opportunity of meeting the former Prime Minister of India, Shri Atalji, a few times. And I would really encourage you to read about him, to read about his views. First time I heard him was in '86 as a young officer under training in the parliament. It is not for nothing that this center has been named after Shri Atalji, who was not only a political giant, he was also a great orator. And in addition to being a great orator, he was an intellectual giant and a great poet. and somebody who understood secularism and this country so intimately. So your Center for Leadership has been rightly named after Sri Atalji. Kindly read what he said, what he says about secularism, what he says about this country. How, when he was leader of the opposition, the then Prime Minister of this country, Srimati Indira Gandhi, invited him rather than sending somebody from her own party, Congress party. He chose him to speak in the United Nations. And diplomats and politicians of Pakistan were surprised that the leader of the opposition is there to defend his country. That is India. When I joined the civil service, I had an opportunity of working in Tamil Nadu, South India for 5 years. And my collector asked me, he said, "You're an engineer, you're an MBA." I appeared for the civil service while I was finishing my MBA. And he said, "What do you know about this country? What do you know which others don't know?" I said, "If you want an honest answer, I know nothing. I have to learn from scratch. How our society functions, how this country functions. Engineering and MBA has given me some tools. That's it. Nothing beyond that." We also need to realize that we need to learn and need to learn all the time. I also learn every day. I'm writing a book on my unusual, extraordinary encounters with people and places where I learned many lessons which I never knew earlier. I've written one of the articles which I've written is on lessons which I learned outside Harvard Business School. As I said earlier, there's a lot which you will learn outside your classroom at IIM Ranchi. So it should be, it should be a totally intense 2 years experience where you learn, but you also realize this learning has to be followed by hard work and practical experience. There's a phrase in Tamil which translated into Hindi or English which says, कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो जानते हैं और कुछ लोग ऐसे हैं जो जानते हैं कि नहीं जानते. Four categories of people are there. So if you know about your own ignorance, nothing wrong with it. All of us learn. And we should not be too, MBAs when they pass out from the college have faced a lot of resistance, like IS officers who join the service. So we feel that we know everything. We have a chip on our shoulder, which is not the right thing. As somebody has said about life, कि उर्दू आते आते ही आती है. Till such time you don't hit the ground, you don't have real life experiences, you have a few tools. That's it. And you need to sit down with people whatever you join, wherever you work, or wherever you have your training. You need to sit down with people on the shop floor, on the ground, in the office. You have to sit down with babus. That's where you have to start your learning once you move out of the management faculty. Life itself is a big laboratory. Life will teach you what, or as they say, real world will teach you what you haven't learned here in Ranchi at your management faculty. But then you have to do your best through events like this leadership program that you maximize, as they say in the US. Something very interesting which I wanted to share with you. As a student, I also was interested in sports, but I could never run 100 meters in less than 13 seconds. So I was not selected for the house team. And my coach said, you focus on something different. When I was the first batch of ICSE. And when I was going to play a basketball match against Doon School Dehradun, my principal called me and he said, there are only 4 months to go for the ICSE examination. You are not expected to go. You focus on your studies. I was very angry. I tried to argue with him. He said, no. Finally, he told me, he said, tell me one thing. You are not in the first five in the basketball team. You are in the reserve. Why do you want to waste your time? He said, if you can play for India in basketball, you go. If you can't, if you don't have that talent, why do you want to go? He didn't allow me to go. And when finally the result of ICSE came, I was second in the country. So when I met the principal, he said, focus on what you can do better than others. So I didn't do 100 meters after that. In the US, they use a very interesting phrase where they say, realize your full potential. Every student has a different potential. You have to identify your potential and work in the right direction to fulfill that potential. Many students are intelligent, but no hard work. Hard work also has to be in the right direction. It's not the number of hours. Sometimes people would say, I have studied 14 hours for getting into the civil service. I said, I only studied for 3.5 months, for 6 hours a day. It's not about hours. It's not about only hard work. Hard work in the right direction and hard work with the right strategy. So you have to realize your full potential. And should you be competing with others in the class? Yes, in a positive way. But should you be jealous of others? No. Every one of you is cut out for a different role. You look at yourself. You reflect on yourself. Are you operating at more than 90% of your efficiency? Or can you step up your efficiency? Can you do better? In the US, I wrote out a paper. It was a class assignment and I got a C. Now C is like just passing. D is failing. C is on the borderline. And my professor was surprised to find that I was not bothered. And then she said, Madhukar, can you write it again? I wrote it again. Third time when she told me, can you write it again for the third time, I got a little upset. And I said, you're telling a surgeon to write a paper on how to do surgery. I said, I can perform surgery, but if you tell me to write a paper on how to do surgery, I can't do that. She said, if you write this paper, possibly you'll become even a better surgeon. So the idea is, if you're at 90, can you go up to 99? Can you go up to 95? I remember when I joined the first program in the US, I was in the supermarket and there was a guy like 6'6" in a tracksuit, and the boy in the supermarket just signaled to me. He said, "Do you know this guy?" I said, "No." He said, "He's the coach of our basketball team, which won the national championship this year. So he's like a celebrity." Now, what happens is, what is the difference? People grading, rating agencies are there, all kinds of things happen in the world. Don't be bothered about that I am Ahmedabad, I am Ranchi, Shillong, whatever. Let's not get into that. these gradings don't mean anything. Once you're in, you are more or less at the same level. It all depends. At the input stage, when you join the IM, Kanchi, where are you? And when you leave, where are you? Now, how is it that you can maximize your potential through programs like these programs? Having said all this, let me come to these 3 points, 3 issues of leadership, policy, and governance. When I was working with the UN and the World Bank were putting a lot of money into Africa, into South America. And they realized that they were not getting enough traction, they were not getting enough results. Later, they realized that when the governance structure itself is poor, when things don't function in the government, the structure of the government is poor, the level of governance within government is poor, any number of programs, any number of projects, any amount of money is not going to make a difference. So, what is most important? What is most important? Structure. Leadership, governance comes thereafter. For example, the Britishers, rightly or wrongly, I'm not getting into that. Even today, if you look at the British colonies, Malaysia, West Indies, Singapore, now Hong Kong, now those countries which were ruled by the British created a structure of governance. Rightly, wrongly, because they had a few Britishers, 2 Britishers would be sent to it, and they were smart enough at that time to divide the country into districts, knowing fully well that this country is so diverse and so huge. It cannot be run from Delhi or from Calcutta. So they divided it, the country into districts, and a few British officers would run the whole district. Administration was totally centralized. Unfortunately, even after 70 years, we have not been centralized. Even today, why should the district be totally in the hands of 2 people, SP and the collector? If they are not good enough, even if they are good enough, can they handle so much of work? We have to move on. The governance structure, the structure of government has to change. So it has to change. So we have, likewise, when we say corporate governance also includes government. Even in corporations, what is the structure? Is the control and command structure clear? Have we distributed, have we delegated things right down to the lowest level? As Peter Senge at MIT says, instead of a pyramidal structure, we need to have a circular structure where the team leader, the CEO, like for example, the director of IIM Ranchi is at the center of that circle. And all others are within that circle. Today, the CEO of one of the biggest corporations in the world, Awaz Maker, has to engage even with the lift man, with the doorman, even with his driver. He has to say hello to them. When I was working with the UN, my nodal officer, Jyoti Rao, one day she said, Madhukar, you don't greet these girls at the reception. When you come to the UN office, I said, I don't know them. He said, no, you take them to the cafeteria and have a chat with them. They said, this guy never says hello to us. So I had come out of a government system. So what I'm trying to say is, the days of a pyramidal structure are gone. If we really want great corporate governance everywhere, we have to have a circular structure where all of us are more or less at the same level. And we need to engage with the lowest person down the line. I'll give you a very simple example. India fought 3 wars with Pakistan, and Pakistan in all the 3 wars had better weapons. In 65, they had Patton tanks. In 71, they had Sabre jets. We were nowhere compared to the kind of weapon systems which Pakistan had acquired at that time from the US. And we were managing with makeshift equipment which was not at the same level. But then, why India won those 3 wars against Pakistan, even the Kargil war? Their army is feudal. Officers beyond the captain level do not fight shoulder to shoulder with their troops. Whereas till colonel level, our officers fight, as you might have seen in Kargil operations or earlier, the number of casualties of our officers is very high compared to soldiers. They are comparable because they lead from the front. So that is the kind of structure that we have, and also in addition to structure, culture. Many things are driven by culture. Now, culture takes a while to develop. When I was studying in the US, a South Indian officer asked me one day, he said, "You are senior, I sir you because you are senior to me in the civil service. Why do these Pakistan civil servants say sir to you? They are Pakistanis. They don't need to say sir to you." And you know what I said? I said, "You are South Indian. What is common between you and me except our nationality? Your language is different, your food is different, dress is different, customs are different, but same nationality." I said, except for nationality, everything is common with these Pakistani colleagues. I share the same food, same dress, same language. I said, division of a country into 2 countries cannot change the culture. Now, I'll give you a simple example. Railways. Most of you would have traveled by railways. See the culture in the railways. In spite of problems, today when you're traveling on a train, the guard will wave the flag even in extreme winters or in hot summers. That is the kind of devotion to duty. The same culture never came in Air India. To begin with, Air India was started in 1931. Singapore Airlines, which is supposed to be one of the best airlines in the world, Cathay Pacific, based out of Hong Kong, Thai Airways, they came to look at the culture in Air India. But now see the culture in Air India, which has deteriorated, and see where Singapore has been. So, talking about Singapore, it got liberated in 61. We got liberated in 47. A great leader like Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew's children don't figure in the scheme of things in Singapore. Mahathir in Malaysia. Look at your mother or father in your own family. They are also like leaders in the family. And they are also leaders. How does a father lead the family? Leadership is not about only being in the front. Leadership is also about sacrifice. My father would he would ensure that he provides me everything before he provides himself something. It is also about sacrifice. It's also about giving. Especially in a country like India, sacrifice, त्याग इस देश ने ज्ञानियों से ज्यादा त्यागियों को पूछा। बिना ज्ञान के त्याग हो सकता है क्या? सीता जी के त्याग को देखिए, उर्मिला के त्याग को देखिए, मीरा के त्याग को देखिए। बिना ज्ञान के त्याग हो सकता है? A lot is taught to you in management institutions, whereas a lot is not taught. You will have to search for that learning outside. When I was studying in the US, I had already 18 years of experience, and I asked a very senior professor at the business school. I said, "What do I learn?" He said, "जो उस्ताद हैं उनकी चिलम है." Spend as much time as you can with people who are masters of their subjects. A lot of knowledge in management is experiential, is shared by word of mouth, not only through books. Books also teach you a lot, but then it's like driving. Can you learn to drive a car just by reading? A girl who sleeps throughout the night, she doesn't get up at all in the night. Have you seen her once she becomes a mother? The child will wake her up throughout the night, and the same girl will wake up in the night because she is a different entity. She has become a mother. A lot of us talk about falling in love. We see hero and heroines falling in love with each other in films. But it is all experiential. Till such time, पोएट्री में कहते हैं ना कि चोट खाया हुआ शायर है. Till such time you don't experience things yourself. My son, he used to play for his school. He won one match, two matches, third match, fourth match he lost. And when I met him in the evening, he said, "मेरे से बात मत करो. I don't want to talk to anybody." It's only when you lose you realize how painful loss is. Don't be afraid to lose. You will start winning when you are not afraid to lose. Don't hesitate to start walking. Even if you take, as they say in management, it is better to take wrong decisions than not to take decisions. So, governance, as I said earlier, leadership, Lee Kuan Yew. We can. How many management books talk about sacrifice? They don't talk about sacrifice. They only talk about self. But the best leaders are the ones everywhere, even in the corporate sector. Somebody like Ratan Tata, he's so simple. People in management will tell you, tie lagao, ye karo, that's all fine. As a district magistrate, I never used to wear sunglasses. I never used to wear expensive clothes. I used to be very simply dressed. What does it mean? I wanted to give a statement to people that I am like you. सीता हरण के बाद राम महाराज का विलाप जब अयोध्या के लोगों ने सुना, तो लोगों ने कहा कि राम महाराज विलाप कर रहे हैं, ये तो महाराज हैं, फिर भगवान है साक्षात. तो अयोध्या के लोगों ने कहा कि नहीं, ये इंसानी भेष में भी हैं, महाराज हैं, भगवान है, पर इंसान है, इस रूप में इंसान है. तो people appreciated it. So no harm. Leadership styles will vary, but that's what you need to learn. That leadership style has to suit your personality. You can't become something different. So I won't. There's a lot to be said, And what I tried to say today, I was thinking, I spoke to my daughter who's in the US. I said, what do I say today? She said, "Dad, just speak from your heart and tell them something which they don't find in books." So I thought in this keynote address, inaugural address, I should be sharing my life experiences and telling you something which I've learned through my own mistakes. through experimentation in my own life, so that possibly I can share with you what mistakes I have committed, what I have learned in my own life through my professional and academic experiences. Once again, I would really like to thank Dr. Shailendra Singh and Ranchi for having me on this program and for giving me this opportunity of sharing all these thoughts with you. Thank you so much. I would like to thank Dr. Aditya also, who's the coordinator for this program. Thank you so much, and all the best to you for this program. As they say, work hard, but also have fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. It was really nice to hear from you about your experiences throughout your professional journey and also from your personal life. Before we move ahead, we would like to first inform all the participants about the rules for the upcoming question answer session. These rules will also be applicable for the other sessions in the future to aid in conducting the session smoothly and to prevent any echoes which might disturb the sound recording or create problems in communication. So the first rule is that if you want to ask a question, you have to send a chat with a yes or a question with to everyone. So if you click on the chat option, you will get an option who do you want to send the chat message to, and it should be to everyone. And you can type in yes or question, and then we will point out our name, and you could then ask the question. In the future sessions, this will be done directly by the speaker who will just speak out the name of the participant who will be asking the question, so that there is no echo and multiple microphones do not open simultaneously. The second rule is linked to the first rule here. Do not turn on your microphone unless you have been asked to. This will help prevent any echoes or background noises from creeping into the entire recording and the session. The third rule is that we will have the question answer sessions after the presentation by the speaker is completed or the speech is completed, so that we can have it smoothly after it is over and we have ample time for that. So we would now like to open the floor for questions from the participants for Dr. Gupta, and you can start off by typing a yes or question in the chat box, and we'll pick your questions, or put out your name from the chat box, and then you can turn on your microphone and ask the question. Okay. So in the meantime, when we wait for questions from the participants, I had a small question from our side, from the center side, to Dr. Gupta. As to Dr. Gupta, you have told about your experience in working in the CSR sector, particularly in the public sector enterprises in India. So this is a relatively new endeavor that CSR has been now made compulsory in India. So what has been your experience in dealing with and convincing the executives as to the importance of CSR, and what are the hurdles that you have faced here in this regard?
No, 2014, when these provisions came into effect, a lot of concerns were there. When I joined the government of India from the state government in 2015, I was handed over this portfolio because other people were not interested. And once the corporations, officers working in corporations, they tasted the effects of CSR programs, many of them got diverted to CSR. There are many management graduates, officers who have handled operations, who have handled marketing for years, or there are new engineers. There's a girl who works with Mazgaon dogs, and she was working with the tribal community in the Western Ghats, close to Pune. 4 years she has been working with the tribal women. When I met her, she said, I don't want to go back to Bombay. So I want to continue my work with these tribal women. I've been able to do something. So till such time, I said earlier, in my own life, I didn't know what I wanted to do. It's like a buffet. a buffet. So if you haven't tasted, let's say Mexican food, you don't know how it tastes like. So we request the same to I'm prepared to help out to create more opportunities of smaller internships for you CSR with private and public corporations. I'll try to help out because you should get a flavor. And once the CEOs, we designed the template for CSR, National CSR Awards, which are given out by the President of Prime Minister of India. The top CEOs, ONGC, Infosys, the CEOs came down to receive those awards. Once you taste, as I said earlier, it is not in taking. You feel the happiest. I have seen two things. You feel the happiest after a day's hard work, or when you give something to somebody, you feel happy. So once you taste giving, you start enjoying CSR. So I've seen a big change in the last 5 years. And there are corporations which have increased their CSR funding up to 15% from 2%. Mrs. Amanita Ambani is the chairman of our foundation, not just for nothing. So there are corporations which spend more than 500 crores in India, both public and private sector. Well, it's a huge country, but then having tested CSR and how you impact people's lives. A lot of people tell me कि साहब इतना आनंद कभी नहीं है, पैसे बहुत कमा लिए पर इतना आनंद नहीं है. So I would really encourage you to get a flavor of it.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Just to take it forward from here, I think we also would like to have a question from the audience here, and we just repeat it for you, although it's up on the chat box already. It says, as an IAS or a UN diplomat, you would have faced many crisis situations. Could you share one and also mention? Uh,
There's the there's a question on the chat box. Should I answer that?
yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You should can answer that better.
There's a question from Ritik Singh.
Yes,
You
sir.
know, as an officer in the UN, 3, 4 things are there which I learned. One, once I told my supervisor, who was the UN country rep, who was the senior most officer in the UN, I said, I don't agree. She said, listen, till such time we sign your paycheck, you have to talk our language. UN, World Bank, international organizations have a bureaucracy. They function differently. As I would like to share with the students, till such time you don't start organization, you do not know what is that do not want to continue working with the UN. They used to talk about, I'm not running down the UN. It all depends. And having scotch in the life. I told him, I said, I want to get back to government. He said, why? We have invested so much in you. I got trained across the world. I learned a lot. I also realized my own inadequacy. Whatever was my experience was within India, not outside India. The world has moved on. There has been so much of inbreeding in our country from other countries. China, last 25 years, the progress which China has made is phenomenal. If China can do it, why can't we do it? And when I was at Harvard, I used to tell them, if this Harvard banayenge India, we'll have 10 Harvards in India. Don't just wait and see. So what I'm trying to say is, it is only when you join an organization you realize whether you fit into it or not. Also, So when I told my boss in the UN, I said, I want to play for Team India. I want to be on the ground. I want to soil my hands on the ground. I would also encourage you, and also I would like to request your director. You should not feel any. If you know your job, you can function anywhere. So, also, secondly, one of the biggest experiences of the UN was I started thinking of the whole world as a village. South Asia is one, Asia, the whole world with people from all nationalities. After the Gujarat earthquake, I was their team leader in Gujarat for people from everywhere came and helped us. So you don't start thinking in terms of nationality. You don't know. So that goes away. Also, UN uses the latest tools. They use the latest methods. I learned a lot in 1 year. And when I stepped to government, I realized that I needed to learn more. And that is why I applied to 4 universities in the US, including Harvard, and I got scholarships to study at two of them in policy and governance for 2 years, uh, doing 2 masters in 2 years. So, and so much of learning which is coming at. Otherwise, we are in a cocoon, we are in a bubble where we feel that whatever we are doing is ultimate. This is not true. So, UN is a great place to learn. So, but it all depends whether you fit into the organization or you don't. So, I would feel I could do much more while working with the government than elsewhere.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. Uh, Talking about your experiences as a student abroad and also as a diplomat abroad, what strikes you most about the difference about your education in India and about education abroad? What is the prime difference that you feel is present there in terms of education and research in India as well as in the US?
Now, I'll give you a very simple example. I was talking about that coach in the US. In high school, there used to be students who could do 100 meters in 11 seconds in India. And in the US also, there would be students who would do 100 meters in 11 seconds. After that, in the universities, they would chisel those students. Search for excellence starts there. How do you reduce your time from 11 seconds to 10 seconds and below 10 seconds? As I said earlier, you're at 90. How do you go from 90 to 99? That's search for excellence. Are we satisfied with whatever we are or whatever we have or whatever we have learned, or we have the urge to do better? You know, you can push the bar, you can push the agenda to any extent. We are there at the high school level, we can compete with them. But beyond high school, we cannot compete with them. Even I had to stretch out. There were times when I would think that I might fail. There was a class which I took in advanced corporate finance in Harvard Business School, and all the boys and girls were much younger to me. There was nobody beyond 30, and they had worked in the best of consulting companies. They had worked on Wall Street. So to compete with them, so basic idea is competition. Give yourself competition. And if I may say so, American systems are highly competitive, and some survive, some fail. But those who survive, they do really well. So the product which they are selling is totally different from our product. There are people who have done an MBA from IIM Ahmedabad and again done an MBA at the Harvard Business School because they're totally different products. And it's a highly competitive. Michael Porter's class, for example, he would take in 80 students in his class from MIT, Harvard, the whole Boston education system. and there would be students from more than 40 nationalities. And before that, you had to write a paper on a title that he would give you. And thereafter, every class was so intense, you had to read. You had to study for 14 to 16 hours. As I said earlier, it is not brilliance alone, it is also hard work. And the kind of environment, the culture, teaching learning starts from 8 o'clock in the morning and continues till 10 o'clock in the college. Here, we close classes after 4 o'clock or after 5 o'clock. But there, on weekends, so many events will be there. And when you have events, you also learn from these events as you are having now. So the culture is very, very different, and the whole focus is on excellence. And also the culture is on merit. You know, Singapore, US are basically societies which are driven by merit. If you are good enough, you don't need to know anybody there. They'll pick you up. So I think we need to move in that direction.
Thank you, Dr. Gupta. For our participants, we are running short of time and we'll have to move to the next section of the inaugural session today. And if you have any questions, we will collect the questions from you on email of the center and we'll send it to Dr. Gupta, who, if he kindly wishes, he could please grace us by answering those questions for the help of the participants related to the lecture today. Uh, Thank you, Dr. Gupta. I would now like to pass on the microphone to Professor Mishra, who will take it ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Hajarika. What a great session, Professor. It was really scintillating and enlightening speech. I thank Chief Guest of the inaugural session, Dr. Madhukar Gupta ji, our Honorable Director, Professor Sri Sailendra Singh ji, who has taken both of these guests, both of these dignitaries have taken time out of their busy schedule and have graced the occasion. Then I would like to thank participants who have joined this program and would be along with us for the next 5 days. Audience of the inaugural session, both joining offline as well as online. And my faculty colleagues at IIM Ranchi, our IT and administration departments, as well as media cell. I thank all of you. Let me first talk about some of the gist which our chief guests have talked about, and it certainly led me to recall when Akbar Alawari said, which says that "ऐ मेरे अहबाब क्या करें नुमाया कर गए." Ahbab means close friend, Numaya means some great work. है मेरे अहबाब क्या करें नुमाया कर गए, बीए हुए नौकरी मिली पेंशन लिया और मर गए. But in today's times, as per your speech, and we also know at the center that we have to give something back to the society, something back to the institution, something back to the organization. And we are on that path. We are also quite impressed with some of your quotes. It says that leaders lead by setting examples and managers lead by authority. So we have to be leaders, we have to become the leaders, and because leaders have also led from the front, we have multiple examples. You talked about army generals. We have many other examples, not only from army, from social life, from political life, who have taken lead and who have led from the front. Then in the end, you also talked about that leadership is also about sacrifice, and I am total agreement with that. That leadership is not always about taking lead. Leadership also is about taking lead in terms of sacrifices. So I still remember Mahatma Gandhi's quote that he used to say that whenever you go for policy formulation, always have the last man in the crowd on your mind. Then only the policy will be more effective for the general people. Sir, it is an honor to have you as the chief guest for the inaugural session, and I look forward to have you in similar events in future at our center. I also thank our Honorable Director, sir, for attending this inaugural session after taking some time out of his busy schedule. And at the end, once again, I thank all the participants, audience of the inaugural session, our faculty colleagues, IT and administration, and media cell departments. Thank you.